Hello. You're allowed to be closer. You're in my support bubble. We triple checked and double checked. Right.
Hello.
So the new hello. So
hi.
Sultan. Sir Samothy Winters. So it's here. Look, that one.
Yeah. Okay.
This is out. The Blood Angels book.
Yeah.
So Blood Angels player. We're about to have a game. This video might go up on the front of the battle report. It depends how long we bang on for.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell us about the Blood Angels book. I've had a skim, a good read as well. So they've got the Savage Echoes.
Yeah.
So when the Assault Doctrine is in effect, they get an extra attack. But they've lost the extra AP, but it's now a strat for the army. So Blood Angels, +1 to wound on the charge, and +1 charges all the time. And also +1 attack during the fight phase.
Yeah. Well, the AP's Space Marine rules.
Space Marine
so they
rules.
haven't lost it. It's Combat Doctrine stuff.
Yeah, and that's what they get. And then there's Death, Black Rage in there for the Death Company, 6-up shrug. They can't perform actions.
Can't fall back.
And there's also a new thing called Death Visions, which you can give to your characters if you give them Black Rage. And it makes them, they can choose one vision once. And then it gives them extra attacks, or it gives them a 3-up invulnerable save, or something like that while they're fighting.
It's a good one.
But there's 3 of them, so you could give that one to that character, and that one to that character, and that one. You give them Death Visions, and it's essentially. So, Death Company. While you're asking, normal Death Company 2 attacks. Death Company Intercessors 3 attacks. Give them a Chainsword, 4 attacks on the charge. Shock Assault.
Yeah.
Death Company Black Rage.
Yeah. Savage Echoes.
Savage Echoes.
From turn 3.
That's 7 attacks.
And then if you put Asterath near them.
8 attacks.
Yeah.
From turn 3.
Yeah.
And there's a strat, I think, where 6 to hit with Death Company, count as 2 hits or explode or something.
I think it's across the army you can do that. Like, as in you can choose any unit, any core unit to do that. And Death Company, Asterath can do some of his cool litanies that give them extra attacks on 6s as well. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
So, what do you like about the new book, Sultan?
So, I start with a caveat. So, firstly, anyone looking at this from just like not really thinking about context might think it's a bit weaker than previous books. And on its own, it's quite I think it's actually a balanced book. It's not broken in any way. But then you add in the fact that we have the entire Space Marine Codex, and it becomes very strong.
So the Blood Angels supplement is weaker than the Blood Angels Codex.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
But it's not, because you add the 2, and then suddenly...
It's the equivalent of using the Space Marine Codex with Blood of Baal, that Psychic Awakening book. So it just becomes very strong. A lot of stratagems have changed slightly, so there are a lot of stratagems with the same names that were in the Blood of Baal and were in the Blood Angels Codex, but they've been tweaked for 9th edition, because otherwise they'd have probably been stupidly broken. But the main things I'm looking at in here, you can give your Warlord an extra Warlord trait, which if you're thinking about Blood Angels Smash Captains is very good.
To give 2 traits?
Yes, yeah. So you can choose them as a Warlord and then give them additional trait for 1 CP.
Yeah.
Likewise, again, you can include the extra relic for another character from the standard Marine book, so you can just start stacking things, which is awesome.
There's also a relic in there which is reroll charges.
Yes, there's one that's reroll charges, and you can charge on turn you fell back, which is Gleaming Pinions.
Reroll Gleaming Pinions. Charge on turn you fell back, reroll charges.
Yeah.
Remember, you can have Imperium Sword from the main codex as well, so you can give 2 characters reroll charges there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's very good, very good.
You got Descent of Angels is back.
Yeah, so Descent of Angels is slightly different this time, but instead of having a 3d6 charge, which I think is what it was before, you get, anytime you make a charge roll, you ignore the modifiers. And then if you get in, because Blood Angels usually get in anyway, so you're just ignoring terrain essentially. But you get in, you can add 1 to that attack's hit roll. So your Sanguinary Guard hitting on 2s.
So is it Sanguinary Guard only?
Blood Angels Core Jump Pack unit.
So a Blood Angels Core Jump Pack unit could be Death Company. The normal Death Company. And that's another way of giving them attack, because you can give them jump packs. You can't give the Intercessors jump packs. So that would get them all the way up there. There's the one that allows you to pick Blood Angel unit up, and then you put it in reserve now, and then you drop it back in the next turn. You don't pick it up and drop it down in the same turn. Forgotten what the name of that one is.
Upon Wings of Fire.
That one.
So that was my favourite stratagem, and it was 2 CPs to just move them.
But it happened in the same turn.
Which was a little bit broken, to be honest. Especially with a 9-man or 10-man unit of Sanguinary Guard, and how good they are now. That'd be crazy. But now, Upon Wings of Fire, it actually is quite good, because it means they haven't fallen back.
Yeah.
Because you can take them, they're in combat and say they've bounced on a charge, which
Yeah.
is unlikely, but it does happen, especially with me. You can take them off and the next turn bring them back and attack again without them getting hit back, which is pretty cool.
And it's 1 CP now.
Yes.
But they go into ongoing reserve, then they drop back down again. So it's cheaper, but they're off the battlefield for a turn. But it's still an awesome redeployment strategy. I like ones like that, like the Raven Guard have and the Blood. Anything that allows you to redeploy stuff, like the jump for orcs, it's nice.
Yeah, the big one I'm looking at here as well is the one they previewed on Warhammer Community, which is Red Rampage. And basically across your army, you can do this once a game, across your army you can make every pistol or melee weapon be an extra AP -1. So you can have AP -3 chainswords from turn 3. For 1 turn, which is awesome. You do it in your command phase, and it's cumulative with combat doctrines, goes for the turn and then disappears.
And everyone in your army?
Everyone in the army. So in turn 3, when you bring in those reserves, if you want to hit like an absolute ton of bricks, it'd be amazing. So what, Thunderhammers are AP -2, right?
Yeah.
AP -3, AP -4 Thunderhammers.
Yeah.
So Thunderhammers haven't lost anything apparently when they're in this army.
But it's 1 CP, I think you can do it once.
You can do it once a game, but 1 CP is really good for that.
And from an opponent's point of view, you're not going to get hit by everything all at once. That so rarely happens. If your Blood Angels players do manage to pull that off and hit you in turn 3 with 7 units, then you're dead anyway, right? It's going to be on those occasions where I might get these 2 units in and want that extra. Yeah. If you're getting assaulted by 6 different, you're dead. But it's a nice 1 CP thing. They could do it for the whole army before, but now it was automatic. Now they're paying a CP for it.
Yeah. Oh no, we never had anything like that before.
No.
For an extra, you had combat doctrines for the extra AP -1 that everyone gets.
Yeah.
And then the extra AP was never there actually. This is brand new. Yeah.
Okay.
It's brand new.
I get confused.
It's the extra attack I think you're thinking of.
I'm thinking of something.
Yeah.
T usually.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Another good one here: Spiritual Might, 1 CP and extra psychic power. So if you have all librarians know 2.
Yeah.
And then have smite. So you can do both your 2 and then still smite.
Yeah.
For 1 CP, which is awesome. So some decent toys here. The only thing I was a little bit disappointed with, and I was speaking about this with Liam, is just some of it is not crazy narrative, which is, I know they've got the Crusade system for that, but we don't really use that. But there's not a huge amount of really narrative strats that really sell it as a Blood Angels army rather than just a standard kind of fast marine army.
The narrative strats were the weaker ones though, right?
Yes, yeah.
You've got narrative stuff though. I mean, that Death Visions is all about being on the bridge of the vengeful spirit.
I really like that, yeah. It's specific to stratagems, but the rest of the book, Death Visions, that's a really cool new addition.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you'll see it, but I think it could be really fun, especially for like a narrative campaign where you follow a character's journey. 3
Death Visions.
Yeah.
One of them is, in the fight phase, you just roll off.
Yeah.
So me and Sultan roll off. If the Blood Angels player wins the roll off, you don't attack each other. He just does 3 plus D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, to slay the War Master. That one's called.
Yeah.
There's another one here. If an enemy infantry or monster character within engagement range, you use the Death Vision, you get a 3 plus invert. You just get it.
Yeah. If they're in close combat.
Yeah. Until the end of the turn, that one is.
Yeah.
On the Bridge of the Vengeful Spirit is the one that caught my eye immediately because add 1 to the model's attack characteristic for every 5 enemy models that are within 6 inches of it.
Yeah.
So if you're going up against a swarm of Tyranids, that could be quite good.
Bonkers number of attacks.
The captain's already going to have like 6 or 7 attacks.
So it's nice narrative ways to buff your character once, but if you really need to give him a 3-up in Van that one time, you can.
Yeah, and there's a CP to do another one. So you can use a CP called something.
A CP called something.
Visions of Sanguinius. If this model has already used the Death Vision, you can use another Death Vision this phase. Okay. If you haven't already used one, you can use 2 in the same phase. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you could use 1 to give yourself a 3-up and vulnerable save, and 1 to give you extra attacks.
Yeah, but you can obviously only do both once a battle.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. Or if you've not used one already, you can spend a CP and use 2 different ones.
Okay.
So, same thing basically.
So those are strats and things. Any Warlord traits stand out for you?
Soul Warden has changed, which is quite nice. It used to be you got a extra deny. It is now a 5-up feel no pain bubble around the Warlord, which is cool.
It's a bubble?
Yeah. Blood Angels unit as well. It's not model, it's unit.
Well, friendly Blood Angels, 6 days, each model and you lose it with Wow.
Yeah, that's a really
And that's
good one.
just a Warlord trait.
That's a Warlord trait, yeah.
Isn't there a psychic power to give you a 5-up?
Yes, the Psychic Fortress from the main rule.
And that's on an A unit.
That's a bubble as well.
Oh, that's a bubble.
Yeah, and then you've got Shield of Sanguinius here, which you can choose a unit within 18 inches.
And
so if you took Shield on one Psyker, and then, I don't know why you'd do this, but you took the normal Librarius Discipline on another Psyker and used Psychic Fortress, you could have a bubble around the Psyker, a bubble around your Warlord for Feel No Pain, and then you could also choose a unit 18 inches away and go, you've also got 5-up Hoover.
Why would you do it? Because it's cool. One Psyker is doing Psychic Fortress, so another one can't do it because you're one Psyker there. And then the other Psyker can go, what, Shield of Sanguinius, that thing over there, because it's so far away. Those are my Terminators, those are my Death Company, those are my Sanguinary Regard. Over there, you throw it out.
Yeah.
So 5-up on a unit, a 5-up bubble, and another 5-up bubble with a Warlord trait. Ooh, suddenly Blood Angels could be, you could tool it that way and get really resilient.
The really fun stuff though is
Blood Angels unit within 6 inches of the Warlord.
Yeah. So you can have one model in, it's the entire unit still.
Well, it also says, while a friendly Blood Angels unit is within 6 inches of the Warlord, it doesn't say core, it says unit. So that could be a Land Raider, that could be Dreadnoughts.
Yeah, Armour of Contempt basically for free, which is pretty cool. And it's, not against mortal wounds, against everything.
You could have a cheap lieutenant back there, give him the Warlord trait, and then you can do Wisdom of the Ancients, so you reroll and hit rolls of 1.
Yeah.
And with the lieutenant, you're re-rolling wound rolls of 1.
We put Librarian Dreadnought back there. Give him the Warlord trait and
a 5-up.
Yeah.
And Feel No Pain.
Yeah, because the Librarian Dread could do Wisdom of the Ancients, have the Warlord trait, and have the Psychic Disciplines.
Well, we could also have the 5-up and Vulnerable save one.
Exactly. Yeah. So the Librarian Dreadnought could be is already an amazing support unit.
Librarian Dreadnought with 3 Mortis Dreadnoughts with a 5-up in Vun, 5-up Feel No Pain, re-roll and hit rolls of 1.
How to lose friends and alienate people.
No, it's just, we look for these stackable moments, right? The tournament players out there will find the most optimized way of playing the lists. That's what tournament players do. And narrative players, friendly players, gamers like us, I look for those cheeky moments and use them perhaps once. I'd do that once. I'd have a Librarian Dreadnought there and try that out once and see what it's like. Like the other month I brought 5 Dreadnoughts with a Master of the Forge.
Yeah, that's
Give
good.
that a go. You've got to try these things once if you've got the models, haven't you? But also having a captain there or a lieutenant there and the aura there or a normal librarian and having a foot slogging list.
Yeah.
Could be there's combos. I like the combos. I like to see which ones work best. And also which ones work best. Sorry, I'm rabbiting. Which ones works best might be dependent on your particular playstyle or your particular meta, which armies you're going up against, which opponents you're going up against. So in a tournament list, it might be, hey, this is the best way to wrap all those combos up. But in your particular meta, you might play a lot of Tyranids and a lot of Orcs, and therefore it doesn't work necessarily well for you. I'll shut up. What else you got?
Like what you said there, the synergies with the Warlord traits and the Librarius Disciplines. We've got one here that can make a Captain or a Librarian Dreadnought or Mephiston really choppy. So the Captain one I was looking at is you could give the Captain the Imperium Sword and Teeth of Terror.
Yeah.
And then you bring a Librarian with Might of Heroes.
Yeah.
And you throw that on him as well.
Yeah.
So that could give him quite a few extra, a bit extra attacks. He'd be really quite choppy with all that.
Yeah.
And you could also give him a CP to take an extra Warlord trait. In this case, there's one here called Gift of Foresight, where you can reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, and 1 saving throw each turn. So if you need to really save that Warlord so he can keep cutting his way through stuff, just for an extra CP, you can give him that. But it has to be from the Blood Angels Warlord traits. So you have 1 from the main rulebook, spend the CP, take another one from this book, and he could be really quite horrible. So 3 CPs each turn, not battle round. So in your phase, you can reroll a hit, a wound, and in close combat, boom, hit a save, which is the kicker. And then in my turn, you can reroll it. If you're in close combat, reroll a hit, a wound. Basically like 3 CPs for a Warlord trait. A hit, a wound, a save. That's the kicker. 6 a turn, essentially. 6 a battle round. So
See, the thing is, you could reroll a dice for your 4-up and vulnerable save to stop your die from dying, using that.
And then a CP on
and then
one.
CP on another one, and it might be the clutch moment that keeps your Warlord alive.
Exactly, yeah. And the other one here that we mentioned, Soul Warden, is also another good thing because it just says a Blood Angels unit within 6 inches. He's a Blood Angels unit within 6 inches of himself.
Yeah, that's true.
So
it doesn't say core.
It's nothing to do with core, yeah, it's just a trait. So he could also have a 5-up, feel no pain, as well as his bodyguard.
Those are 2 really strong Warlord traits. And so Soul Warden, 5-up bubble, feel no pain, any Blood Angels unit.
Yes.
Dreadnought, whatever. Yeah. And then Gift of Foresight, reroll a hit or wound to save. I like them both.
Yeah.
It's worth pointing out there are 3 Fleshterror Warlord traits in here as well, and there's a couple of Fleshterror stratagems. So there's a bit of narrative for you, a bit of successor chapter. I know Idronovich, he'll love that one. There's some Fleshterrors loving this book as well.
Adrianovich.
Yeah.
Also, the Sanguinary Discipline. I know we said it's back. Everything is on a 6 now. There were differences. There was like Wings on a 5 and Quickening on a 7. Both 6 now. So I think that's better overall.
Let's talk about Wings.
Yeah.
Read it out because we had a discussion about this.
Yeah.
Edit. The phone went nuts. Wings.
Wings of Sanguinius. So Wings of Sanguinius has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, this Psyker can make a normal move or fall back as if it were your movement phase. In addition, until the end of this phase, the Psyker has a move characteristic of 12 inches and the fly keyword.
So he can make a normal move or fall back as if it was the movement phase with a move of 12.
Yeah.
So in your movement phase, you move, and then in your psychic phase, you can move again. So in your movement phase, you'd move your normal distance, and then you jump forward 12 inches with the fly. And it ends at the end of the phase.
End of the phase, yeah.
Yeah, so you don't keep it until...
Yeah. So some people might see that as a bit of a nerf. I don't, because the fly keyword has changed since 8th edition, where in 8th, fly meant if you had it for the entire battle round, you could fall back and shoot. You could move over terrain in the charge phase. Not so anymore. So the fact you lose at the end of the psychic phase isn't a bad thing because you can't fall back and shoot, and terrain is still a factor in the charge phase.
Well, here's the question as well. So let's say you're locked up in combat in the movement phase, and then you cast Wings to fall back. And then you want to charge or shoot in the shooting phase. Can you charge or shoot if you use Wings to fall back? Because you've fallen back in the psychic phase, you haven't fallen back in the movement phase.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think definitely not, because it says as if it were your movement phase. Treat it as the movement phase.
Yeah, so essentially you can fall back in the movement phase, or you can use the psychic power to fall back as if it was the movement phase. So if you've fallen back in the movement phase, you can't shoot, and if you've used a psychic power to fall back as if it was the movement phase,
you can't shoot. Yeah.
Then you can't shoot.
Yeah, I think there may be an errata just to say, look, this is what we meant, but I think after reading it a couple of times, it's fairly clear.
I think it's fairly clear as well, but I can see some people argue otherwise.
Yes.
I didn't fall back in the movement phase, yes, but you fell back. You used a psychic power to fall back, to move in the psychic phase as if it was a fallback in the movement phase.
Also, and this might just be me being ignorant of the older codex, but I think Quickening has changed in that you can reroll advance and charge rolls as well as getting D3 extra attacks. So Quickening was pretty ace, rerolling your charge roll.
I thought you could always...
I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if you could always get that, but the fact that it's back and it's only a 6 rather than a 7 now is good. So that's good. Also, Unleash Rage has changed. So you know the Space Wolves rule?
Yeah.
Roll a 6, you get an extra attack.
Yeah.
That's what you get on this. It's an additional hit. Yeah.
Auto hit, not so you don't have to roll again.
Yeah, you don't have to roll again. And a modified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit, so it's better than getting +1 attack for the unit, because if you're a Blood Angels unit with chainswords, you've already got 40 attacks. So you throw those in there, and you're likely to get more than 5 6s.
Cool. So
that's really good.
What else we got? Anything else?
Got 2 Witchfire ones, which are okay. The only one that drew my eye was Blood Boil, in that you choose a unit within 18 inches, roll 2d6. If it's more than highest toughness characteristic of models, so rather than leadership, it's toughness, d3 mortal wounds. And toughness is quite low generally across the thing. And 2d6 means you could do this to a knight.
Yeah.
However, it's more than double the toughness, so I'm thinking, I don't know, Termagant's strength, toughness 3. Then you get 3 mortal wounds instead. That's your door.
That's the door. I think she bought something from Next.
Oh.
Come in.
Hello, I'm in. Relics then.
Anything stand out?
There's
We're not gonna go
nothing
through the
crazy. The only one that's I'm really
Gleaming
looking
Pinions, I
at
like.
is Gleaming Pinions. Yeah, special issue war gear. That's great. That's the one we mentioned before, where you can fall back and charge and reroll charge rolls.
Yeah.
The other one was Icon of the Angel,
Right.
which is an aura. So while a friendly Blood Angels unit, not core, any within 6 inches of this model, you can reroll charge rolls made for that unit.
Nice.
So if you drop in a guy with that, say again a captain, you give him that relic instead of something else.
Yeah.
And then you drop in 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard or 2 Vanguard veterans around him, they can all reroll their charges to get in. And that makes it just that more likely, including them, because he's a Blood Angels unit, this character holding it. So it's much more likely to drop in and charge in.
So what I'm hearing is there's relics, psychic powers, warlord traits,
special issue war gear, everything.
That all allow you to certain units to reroll charges.
Yeah.
So there's the ability to get in there quicker. There's buffs and stratagems to give you more attacks. And there's also the feel no pain auras going on.
Yeah.
So there's more fuel on your fire there.
Yeah, more to save you, more to attack, and more to get into combat, all of which are things that you definitely want in an assault army.
Yes. And
you don't want shooting, you want all this.
And again, pulling them off all the time is not going to happen.
No.
But having more tools in your toolbox, so you've got the options to re-roll that charge, or got the option to do, you can build lists that make your army do more of what it does.
Yeah. So it's not broken, but it is, especially in conjunction with the other book, very strong. And I think Blood Angels are still going to be a very heavy competitive list because they're firstly they're fun and the narrative, but also they're good.
Yeah.
They're probably not as good as the new Dark Angels stuff when we see that, but I'm still sticking with my red ones.
But Death Company are core.
Death Company are core, yeah. I never expected that. I thought they wouldn't be core because they're lost to the chapter, but they're core. So narratively, I don't know if that makes sense to me, but gameplay-wise, it's going to be really good.
They're a core unit. I think every infantry unit that we've seen so far, except for HQs and Centurions, seem to be core. It seems to be a thing. So going forward, Sanguinary Guard, they core?
I would say Sanguinary Guard are core. No, they are, yes. But narratively in my head, they're core because they're the centre of the chapter. They're veterans, but Death Company, narratively, gameplay, yes, again, they're core. But narratively, they don't seem core to me because they've fallen. They're no longer themselves. I'm
just thinking forward to other Space Marine releases. I think we can expect to see almost every infantry unit gain the core keyword from what we've seen so far.
Did Wolfen get it? I don't think they did they?
I don't know. The book's just there. No. One of the things I'm thinking is, as a generic Space Marine player with the 13th, I've got successor chapters to pick from.
Yeah.
And that's it. You've got your successor chapter tactics trait, which is your +1 to wound and savage echoes.
Yeah.
And more models. And more relics and more strats. And so essentially what I would say is if you want to play truly competitive Space Marines at the most optimal level,
specialized,
then you want to go Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Dark Angels, Death Watch. You want to unlock more stuff for your stuff. Don't do what I'm doing. Or you could do what I'm doing, but when you play competitively, say it is a successor chapter of.
You could have, if you wanted to be in that narrative, we're going a bit of a tangent, but if you wanted to have a company that was an assault company, you could do that, and then another company who was the vehicle company, you could do Iron Hands. You can do what you want, it's your game.
Well, there's no reason, exactly. There's no reason why you can't paint your Space Marines the colour you want to paint them. They could be yellow, black, blue, brown, purple, whatever. And
I don't know if I could show this page, but there's a blue one there, and he's a Blood Angel.
So, and it talks about successor chapter. So you can paint in whatever colour when you want, and when you go to a competitive event, say they're Blood Angels, or say they're Space Wars successor chapter, you could do it that way if you wanted to. Indeed, back when I did tournaments, back in 4th and 5th, that's what I did, but there wasn't chapter tactics back then anyway. There was, in 5th, there were a couple of ways that you could tweak your army. That 5th was when the chapter tactics came out, actually. So in 4th, I didn't do it. In 5th, I did do it. And I played the 13th. I remember in one tournament, I played them as Salamanders. In another tournament, brought loads of bikes and played them as White Scars. And that's what I used to do.
It's fun. It's
so
variation.
you can do that. But yeah, good book. You like it?
I like it, yeah. I think it's... I'm sad a few things have gone, but I'm really happy with what they've put in. So I think gameplay-wise, they're going to be very strong.
So we'll do a battle report now, which will be out on Tuesday. I'm not going to tag this to the front of the battle report. I think this is a nice little standalone thing for those Blood Angels people out there. So thanks, guys. Happy wargaming.